Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the PlainTalk English Podcast, the show dedicated to helping you speak English with clarity and confidence. I'm your host, Daniel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Anna. We're so happy and genuinely excited to have you with us again for another episode. We truly appreciate you taking the time to learn with us.
If you are an English learner and you've ever felt that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach when an English business meeting appears on your calendar, then today's episode is especially, and we mean especially for you. We've heard from so many of you about this specific challenge, and we're here to tackle it head on.
Yes, it's a very common experience. Many English learners can feel wonderfully confident ordering a coffee, chatting with friends, or talking about their weekend. But the moment they step into the corporate world, particularly a meeting at work, they suddenly feel stressed, tongue-tied, and silent. The confidence seems to evaporate.
Exactly. Business meetings can feel like a completely different world. The environment is more formal. The stakes can feel higher. People often speak very fast, and there's an expectation for clear, concise, and professional answers. It's a high-pressure situation, and it can be incredibly intimidating.
But please, don't worry. We want to reassure you that this is a skill, and like any skill, it can be learned. In this episode, we are going to break it all down for you. We'll help you learn how to speak in business meetings in English, not just adequately, but effectively and easily. We'll be using simple words, practical real-life examples, and clear conversation practice that you can start using immediately.
So find a comfortable seat, perhaps grab a cup of tea or coffee, and relax. Listen carefully, engage with our exercises, and practice with us. We promise that by the end of this comprehensive episode, you will walk away feeling significantly more prepared and confident for your next English meeting. So, Anna, let's start by digging deeper into the core of the problem. From your perspective and experience, why exactly do you think business meetings are such a hurdle for English learners, even those with a good vocabulary?
That's a great question, Daniel. I believe it boils down to a combination of factors that create a perfect storm of anxiety. There are a few key reasons we should explore in detail. First and foremost, as you mentioned, meetings are usually formal. This formality creates a psychological barrier. Learners aren't just worried about being understood, they worry about using the wrong words, sounding too casual, or making a grammatical mistake that could be perceived as unprofessional.
Yes, that fear of sounding unprofessional is huge. You don't want your language to undermine your expertise. You could have a brilliant idea, but if you're struggling to express it, you worry that your colleagues will focus on your English rather than your contribution. This pressure to be perfect can be paralyzing.
Absolutely. The second major reason is that meetings move very quickly. There's often very little time to pause, reflect, and carefully construct a sentence in your head. The conversation flows rapidly from one person to another, and if you're not quick enough, the moment to speak passes. This is especially challenging when you're also trying to process different accents and a continuous stream of new information.
That's a critical point. It's not just about speaking, it's about real-time comprehension. And third, a reason that many learners don't even realize is a problem is the lack of familiarity with specific meeting phrases and conversational patterns. Native speakers don't create every sentence from scratch. They rely heavily on a sort of phrase book for meetings. They know the standard ways to start speaking, to transition to a new topic, to agree, to disagree, and to give opinions politely. Without this toolkit, learners are left trying to invent the wheel in every single interaction.
Exactly. But here's the good news, and I really want everyone to hear this. Meetings use repeatable patterns and predictable language. The same situations occur again and again. Once you learn to recognize these situations and memorize the corresponding phrases, meetings become dramatically easier and far less intimidating. You're no longer lost in the conversation. You have a map.
Let's start at the very beginning then. How do meetings usually start? What can a learner expect in those first few crucial minutes?
Typically, the designated manager, team leader, or meeting organizer will be the one to officially open the meeting. Their role is to welcome everyone and set the agenda. It's a very structured and predictable moment.
Here are some of the most common opening phrases you will hear. Listening for these can help you mentally switch into meeting mode. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Very common and polite. All right, it looks like everyone is here, so let's get started. Okay, let's begin. Today we're here to discuss. clearly states the topic. The main purpose of today's meeting is to clearly states the objective.
Let's do a quick role play to illustrate. Imagine I am the team leader starting our weekly project update. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I know you all have busy schedules, so I appreciate you making the time. The purpose of this meeting is to review our project timeline and address any potential roadblocks. We'll start with a quick update from each department. Daniel, could you kick us off?
See? It's simple, clear, and professional. The leader has welcomed everyone, stated the purpose, and outlined the first step. This structure provides a clear roadmap for everyone in attendance. Now, what if it's your first meeting with a new team, or there are external partners present and people don't know who you are? This can be another source of anxiety.
It certainly can be. In this situation, you will likely be asked to introduce yourself. The key here is to be brief, clear, and relevant. No one is expecting your life story.
Exactly. You can use a very simple and effective formula. Name plus role/department plus optional, a brief note on your connection to the meeting's topic. Here are some templates. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'm a project manager in the marketing department. Hi everyone, I'm Anna, and I'm the lead developer responsible for customer support integration.
The key is to keep it short and professional. Your introduction should be under 15 seconds. Just your name, your role, and why you are there. This isn't the time for long stories or apologies about your English skills. Project confidence from the very start.
Okay, now for the most important part. How to actually speak up during the meeting and contribute your ideas.
Yes, this is where many learners freeze. They have an opinion, but they stay quiet because they don't know the polite and safe way to enter the conversation. They wait for a perfect silent moment that often never comes.
The solution is to arm yourself with door opener phrases. These are safe, universally accepted phrases that signal to everyone that you are about to share an opinion. Using them makes entering the conversation much smoother. Here are the most essential ones. I think that simple and direct. In my opinion, slightly more formal. From my point of view, also formal and professional. It seems to me that a softer, more gentle way to offer a view. I feel that. Good for opinions that are less about hard data and more about strategy or feeling.
Let's put these into practice. Imagine we are discussing a new marketing plan. I think that this plan will help us save a significant amount of time in the long run.
Or offering a different perspective. In my opinion, we should focus on quality first, even if it takes a little longer. Our brand reputation depends on it.
Using these phrases makes your contribution sound structured and thoughtful, rather than abrupt. Agreeing with someone is one of the easiest and most effective ways to participate in a meeting. It shows you are listening, you are engaged, and you support your teammates.
Absolutely. Don't underestimate the power of a simple agreement. Here are some natural phrases you can use, ranging from simple to more emphatic. I agree, simple and clear. I agree with you, or I agree with name. That's a good point. Shows you value their specific contribution. I completely agree. Strong agreement. I couldn't agree more. Very strong, enthusiastic agreement. That's exactly what I was thinking. Shows you are on the same wavelength.
For example, if Daniel just shared an idea, I agree with Daniel. That approach makes a lot of sense. Building on that, we could also notice how I not only agreed, but used it as a bridge to add my own thought. Agreement is a great tool for collaboration.
Now for the one that makes everyone nervous. Disagreeing. It can feel very uncomfortable, especially in a different language. But healthy disagreement is a normal and necessary part of any productive business meeting.
Yes, and the key word here, as the original script said, is politely. How you disagree is just as important as what you say. The goal is to challenge the idea, not the person.
To do this, you should always use soft, diplomatic language. Never say, you're wrong, or that's a bad idea. Instead, use a technique we can call the disagreement sandwich. Acknowledge their point, state your different opinion, and then explain your reasoning. Here are some excellent phrases for this. I see your point, but the classic. It shows you listened. I understand where you're coming from, however. Very respectful. I'm not sure I completely agree with that. A gentle way to express doubt. I have a slightly different opinion on this. That's one way to look at it. Another perspective is that.
Let's try an example. Imagine Daniel suggests launching a new feature next week. I think it's too soon. I see your point about wanting to move quickly, Daniel, but I think we need more time for testing. If we launch with bugs, it could damage our users' trust.
That sounds incredibly respectful and constructive. You acknowledged my goal, moving quickly, but then presented a valid counter-argument, the risk of bugs. This leads to a discussion, not an argument.
What if you're in a meeting and someone says something, an acronym, an idiom, or a complex idea, and you simply don't understand? What should you do?
The worst thing you can do is stay silent and pretend you understand. This can lead to serious misunderstandings later. You must never stay silent. Asking for clarification politely is a sign of engagement and intelligence, not weakness.
Exactly. It shows you are paying close attention and want to understand fully. Here are some essential phrases for this. Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it? Could you please explain that in a different way? When you say the confusing term, what exactly do you mean? Could you clarify what you mean by streamlining the workflow? Just to make sure I understand correctly, you're suggesting that we postpone the launch, is that right? This is called paraphrasing, and it's a very powerful tool.
Asking these questions shows you are a diligent and responsible team member. People will always respect you for it.
Meetings aren't just for listening. They are about collaborating and generating new ideas. This is where making suggestions comes in.
Yes, to suggest something, you can use phrases that sound collaborative and open to discussion, rather than sounding like a command. I suggest that a bit formal but clear. Maybe we could, softer and more collaborative. How about if or what about, very common and friendly. I have an idea. What if we clearly signals a new suggestion? One potential solution might be to,
for example, if the team is stuck on a problem, maybe we could extend the deadline by 1 week. That would give us enough time to complete the quality checks properly. What does everyone think?
I love that you added, what does everyone think at the end. It turns your suggestion into an invitation for discussion, which is exactly what you want to do in a collaborative environment.
All right, let's bring all of these elements together in a more detailed, real-life meeting example. I'll be the manager again, and Anna, you'll be a senior team member.
Great idea. Let's do it.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today we're here to finalize the marketing plan for our new Q3 product launch. As you know, the deadline is approaching fast. Anna, you had some initial thoughts on our social media strategy?
Yes, thanks, Daniel. In my opinion, we should focus more heavily on video content for Instagram and TikTok. Our data shows that engagement is much higher with short-form video than with static images.
That's a good point, Anna. The engagement numbers are clear. It seems we're in agreement on prioritizing video. That's a great start. Building on that, are there any other ideas on the marketing mix?
Well, how about if we partner with a few micro-influencers in our niche? Their audience is very engaged, and it could be more cost-effective than one large influencer.
That's an interesting idea, Anna. I see your point about the cost effectiveness. However, I'm a bit concerned about the logistics. Managing several small contracts could be time-consuming, and we have a very tight timeline. How would you see that working?
That's a valid concern. What I mean is we don't have to manage 10 all at once. I suggest that we start with just 2 or 3 micro-influencers as a pilot program. We can test the process and measure the results. If it works well, we can scale up for the next campaign.
I like that suggestion, Anna. A pilot program sounds like a perfect compromise. It minimizes risk while still allowing us to test your great idea. I agree. Let's move forward with that. So the action item is for you, Anna, to research and propose 3 potential micro-influencers by Friday. Are you on board with that?
Yes, absolutely. I can do that. Ending a meeting politely and clearly is just as important as starting one. You want everyone to leave knowing exactly what was decided and what they need to do next.
Exactly. A good closing has 3 parts: a summary of decisions, a review of action items, and a clear closing statement. Here are some common phrases for the final closing. Thank you everyone for your time and valuable input. Okay, I think that's everything for today. Let's wrap up here. We've made some great progress today. We'll follow up with a summary email.
Let's see it in practice, continuing our role play. All right, it looks like we have a clear path forward. To quickly summarize, we've decided to prioritize video content and to launch a pilot program with 3 micro-influencers. The main action item is for Anna to identify those influencers by end of day Friday. Thank you everyone for your input. This was a very productive discussion. We'll continue this discussion at our regular meeting next week. Have a great day.
Before we finish, we want to leave you with some final actionable tips to help you build lasting confidence. Remember, this is a journey.
Speak slowly and clearly. Many learners think speaking fast sounds more fluent. It's the opposite. Speaking slowly gives you time to think, reduces your chances of making errors, and makes you sound more deliberate and confident. Use simple English. Don't try to use complex vocabulary you're not comfortable with. Native speakers and colleagues will always prefer a simple idea expressed clearly over a complex idea expressed poorly. Clarity is king. Prepare before the meeting. This is a game changer. Read the agenda. Think about your opinions on each topic. Look up any vocabulary you might need. Walking in prepared reduces anxiety by at least 50%. Don't fear mistakes. Every single person in that meeting, including the native English speakers, has made a language mistake before. The goal is communication, not perfection. If you make a mistake, correct it if you can, and if not, just keep going. People will remember your ideas, not your grammar. Practice meeting phrases daily. Read these phrases out loud. Record yourself on your phone saying them. Imagine a meeting scenario and practice your response. The more you say them, the more naturally they will come to you when you need them.
Confidence comes from preparation and practice, not from a magical sense of perfection. Every meeting you participate in is a victory, no matter how small your contribution.
You did an amazing job today just by listening and engaging with this episode. You have already taken a huge step toward becoming a more confident speaker.
If you found this episode helpful and empowering, please do us a small favor and like, share, and subscribe to Plain Talk English. It helps us reach and help more learners just like you.
In our very next episode, we'll be tackling another major challenge: how to prepare and deliver powerful presentations in English with confidence and style.
Until then, keep practicing, be patient with yourself, and celebrate your progress. Your English is better than you think it is.
Goodbye.